Hi. Brad decided to let me go live once again. Foolish man. So, some business. Ladies and gentlemen, the Maritime Paintball Podcast is brought to you by Moncton Paintball, my love, my home, my field. They've got all the most beautiful facilities. They've got running water. They've got clean toilets. They've got a city. They've got a town. They've got a bus. They've got a hotel. They've got a beautiful airball field and more to come this year. Word is from the gas band, there's more to come, and there's going to be some cool stuff this summer. So everybody's going to have to come out and see me and visit the embassy out at Moncton Paintball this spring. This weekend is the game at the Atlantic Recreation Center in Hillsborough, put on by ATO, the Atlantic Tactical Outlaws. It's their winter game. Game starts at 11, so everybody get out there and enjoy the finest of fine staging areas in the world. Also, the Maritime Paintball Broadcast is brought to you by Commando Action Center in Ottawa, where we will be visiting all of our favorite Upper Canadians in beautiful Ottawa. Can't wait to see you guys there the first weekend in June. December. Ugh, no. June. It'll be sexy. I can't wait. The Canadian Cunt has got some new stuff coming down the pipe. You can find it if you go up her pipe too. And she's made some very nice stuff she's been sending me. I can't wait to have a fresh cunt come this June. Castle Glass and the Rip King continue to hook me up with the finest of glassware and smokables I can get my grubby little mitts on. Cannot wait to go and see the Rip King once again and see what glorious stuff that he's dug out for me. He has always been on the forefront of cannabis consumption in my life, so I can trust him. Also, you're listening to me on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and all those good things. Maybe you're in Fredericton, New Brunswick. You can find us on 97.9 CHSR. University radio station, for some reason, loves us, or at least tolerates Bradley. Producer lady, we love you, even though I don't think she hears the pre-show, and thank God that she doesn't. Bradley's grooving. He's putting on his headset now. He's kind of bobbing along here. Castle Glass, Rip Kings. Well, we're going to be at Wasaga. We love NME. See? Where's she at? Where's that at? Got my sexy NME on. I've got my cunt on, my shades. Got my coffee. Brad doesn't have coffee, but he does have another podcast in the studio on the other side of the wall that's doing a wrestling podcast. So if they hear this, boys, I love me my wrestling. I need somebody else to talk to on my weekends. That's right. This weekend, we've also got a game in St. John. Going to check out the Kill House with the Airsoft lads. So check out Fredericton Airsoft, FAC. Jumpin' Jack has got all the stuff you need for the field. Also, check out Andy's Airsoft in PEI. Those dudes are fantastic. They hooked me up with, they didn't hook me up. I bought it, but they sent it like choppity chop and got myself my stick mag for my Thompson because Tommy's always wanted a Tommy. So now with little stick mag action, I don't have to carry this giant ass drum all over the place because the thing's so heavy and I'm old. I don't want to carry that thing anymore. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. I give you the wait. Nope, he's shaking his. God damn it. Nope, he's twisting his finger. This is good. Let me think. What else can we tell people about? My God, Gator Mill. Buy yourself some gators because I've got a Schmeckel shield coming. I cannot wait to have it. I got my fresh gator. We've got be a mensch. Buy some quench, baby. This is the new hydration system that Bradley is going to get me to try this weekend. I need something because I am constantly pasty and I've been informed that coffee dehydrates you. So if you are smart, you're going to have some quench in your bag and you're going to stay hydrated. Even in this beautiful weather that we're having in the Maritimes where it's a balmy, raining in 2 degrees? Beautiful here in Moncton. Look at that. 1 degree. Balmy. Are you ready? If you're talking, you're muted.
How's that? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 436 of the Maritime Paintball Podcast, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and beautiful 97.9 FM CHSR out of Fredericton, New Brunswick. My name is Bradley Odell, and with me, as always, is
the incontrovertible king of paintball. I'm happy to be here tonight. Quadruple
What do we
mocha
got?
latte,
Moisture
espresso,
is
cappuccino. Oh, don't make me stand up and go get my marshmallows and my sprinkles. I don't care. It's a French pressed light roast.
I'm just wondering what the auto contrast will do when you stand up and he's got that black sweater and those pasty white legs. It won't know what to do.
Sweet Jesus, I'm blind. Right, I'm gonna start.
My lungs don't work. Oh, excuse me. So, yes, I heard that you did a fantastic job of paying the bills. And just a reminder, because they are our newest sponsor, Quench Hydration. Go check them out, quenchhydration.ca or quenchhydration.com for our American friends. Use the code Maritime Paintball Podcast. Save yourself 10%. Sorry, no, save yourself 15%. I'm sorry, 15%.
He's trying to cut 5% out. That's all he's trying to do.
I have no choice.
People, he's trying to get an extra cut.
We're going to get to that Exploit Paintball, the new Not Titman TMC. We are going to get to that.
He actually said pretty much exactly that, and we'll get to it because I have this. I'll say the same thing because I'm not wrong.
So we are going to talk about it. I mean, we can get into it now if you want. I don't think we really have a whole lot.
Not a whole lot on the agenda.
That
because I'm expecting, especially with Keith in the chat, he's absolutely going to have something to contribute to Brad Tell Me a Story.
100%. 100%.
Those old fellas over on Mr. Fred, and I say old fellas because I'm pretty well one of yous at heart, are going to tell me some history. 200.
I like that, Creep Show.
Hey, Creep Show. What's up, buddy?
I like that.
Quench is a hydration system that you can get 15% off if you use the code Maritime Paintball Podcast.
Also, it is spelled Quench, CWENCH. Quench.
Wench with a C.
So if you head over to, I'm going to put the link in the.
My God, they're going to hate. They're just be like, stop promoting our product. Please stop.
No.
It can't be any worse than rain.
No, so the main difference was that when works better when you spell it correctly.
I'm pretty sure Titman's going to send Turtle a cease and desist if he doesn't stop sending them.
I'm fully expecting that. I am fully expecting that.
I want the Titman guys to send him a cease and desist just so I can be jealous and try to get them on the show to explain why they hate him so much.
Before we get into the Not TMC and before we get into the first the launch of the new segment that we're adding to the show, let's talk about. Did you see the video about the HS rounds? They're really only in Europe right now. So the HS round is being touted as a cheaper alternative to the first strike round, and they're only available in Europe right now.
Mm-hmm.
That I can see. Anyways, there might be some American individuals who got their hands on them, but right now, when you try to order them, I seem to only be able to order them out of the EU, and all the reviews are being done in like German. So bear with me here. The video I saw, which was rather interesting. So they had used a, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly confident that they used an EMF 100 to run the test. I think.
So at least they chose a reliable.
Or it was a Didam. I forget. So the main thing they found right away was that the HS rounds are smaller. On average, they're made smaller than the first strike rounds. They're like a 0.67 rather than the first strikes being a 0.68. So they're underboring. Now, when they did the test, you have to go find the video. I can't remember the name of it. I stumbled across it, and it was all in German. But what the main thing I noticed was that when they did the test, very proud of them, they actually like fixed the marker to a shooting table with like clamps. So it wasn't a matter of, oh, well, they have bad aim or they aimed poorly on purpose or whatever. This thing was like secured, right? So when they pulled the trigger, it was the same pop, like it was very, very secure. So kudos to them for doing that.
I appreciate that. Good job, boys.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Science. Got to keep that science going. Now, what I noticed right away was the first strike runs, when they did the test from one of the distances, again, the whole thing was in German. I just kind of like tried to figure it out as I was going along. But one of the distances in particular, they had shot a grouping, excuse me, and the first strike rounds had a grouping of like 30 centimeters, like a foot, like out of 1 foot grouping, which for a paintball round, right? It's first strike round is pretty good. That's the size of somebody's head. Cool, right? So it was like 25 centimeters by 30 centimeters or something. It was basically, it might as well have been just like 1 foot all the way around. The when they did the HS rounds, it was like a meter around. Like it was a significant poor difference. Their
translation, nice,
great, love that. They it was paintball.de, like the German paintball site or something.
Yeah, .de tends to be German.
.de, yeah. And the cost of them, like, hold on, let's go look that up. HS.
Was it a ridiculous price?
You know what? I can't remember because again, of course, when you type in HS paintball, you get hard style, which, you know. Here we go. Paintballsports.de. That's who you want to go check out. It's also paintballsports.co.uk. They are a $200 will run you. Somebody do the numbers for me here. $70 €70. So
call it 100.
70 euros to, so it's 105 Canadian. We'll get you 200 HS rounds.
Now, you still got that cough. You still got that cough, Cliffy. It's getting better, but
yeah, it's now what it is like. It's like almost like a lump in my throat that's making me cough, which I think is just like,
that's not a lump.
Yeah. Let's go to let's check Badlands. We'll take a look at the price here, and we'll
does Ants Gear have them?
I'm not looking at Ants Gear.
Good.
Oh wow, this computer is getting really, really warm. So a 600 count. Okay, it's not apples to apples here. Hold on, let me see if I can find a six. There we go. 600 count is 200 euros. For the HS rounds.
Okay, and how much? 200.
You're paying $300 Canadian for 200 rounds, or you pay $400 Canadian for 600 rounds. So it's for the same number of rounds you're paying $100 more for first strikes, which so far appear to be far superior in their quality and in their accuracy. Like if you're splitting hairs at that point, like if you're looking at a $600 and it's like, well, do I pay 300 Canadian or do I pay 400 Canadian? I would, you know what I mean? Like, why not just shoot round ball at that? You know what I mean? Like, if your grouping is a meter across, shoot round ball. Right now, they're said there could be an issue where the HS rounds are made smaller because they're more cheaply made because they're aiming to be a cheaper alternative. So maybe you're willing to.
Are we assuming did they bore down and did they bore the paint?
Yeah, it's a small. They use less material.
No,
so when you're
doesn't include that. Definitely doesn't include shipping.
Doesn't include shipping. It doesn't include any. It doesn't even include shipping on the first strike rounds. I just grabbed the straight price. So of course, as a Canadian, it doesn't make any sense to buy HS rounds because you're looking at €300 or $300 Canadian plus shipping overseas. No, there's no point. Now they'll probably eventually get a North America distributor, and then it will make a little bit more sense, and we'll judge the price at that point. But as of right now, they're a cheaper alternative. The people who shoot first strike rounds are not going to look at that and go, "Oh, great, I could save $100 and have way worse accuracy," right? Like,
yeah, fair.
We're talking. What's the difference here?
To call it $100, no matter how you slice it.
Oh no, I was going to do per round.
Oh,
right. So you're doing 50 cents a round first strikes, and you're doing. No, sorry. You're doing 66 cents a round First Strikes and you're doing 50 cents a round,
Anybody from First Strike who happens to be listening to this, saving $40 to hurt the company that brought us shape rounds doesn't make sense.
So
Freak show.
I am
love you.
a fan of market competition. I do like the idea. I shoot First Strikes when I get the opportunity, but I'm also not a big fan of industry monopolies. I wish there was another alternative to the First Strike rounds that is of equal quality, right? First Strike wouldn't notice. Guarantee it. Paintballers are 1% of First Strike's business model. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's still early. Maybe HS figures it out. Maybe they make a better round, or maybe it's just a matter of boring size. Maybe you just got to bore down. Maybe you just got to get the shaped projectile inserts, right? And basically run like a freak kit. Sweet. Maybe that's the solution. But as of right now, that price, it doesn't make sense.
I have the freak kit on my TMC.
What's this? No Coke, Pepsi, cheeseburger. I don't know. I don't get that. Sorry, Keith. That joke went over my head. Explorer says, how about the MC shaped round? Wait, I delayed it again. No, you didn't delay the shaped round. It's another product that cannot be mentioned that will cause delays, which I can tell you right now, there is a functioning prototype and it will never come to market. It never will come to market. And if you know what I know, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. But it will never come to market. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
But speaking of things that are going to come to market.
Yes. Speaking of things that are going to come to market, the Umarex magfed gun. It's got a funny name.
Magfed system.
Yes, it's the system.
That thing is schmexy. That is a very pretty airsoft looking marker. They would love it. We could just bring those airsoft kids over to with that thing.
It looks very, very much like the TMC, which frankly, I mean, if you squinted the T15, the TMC, the 468, if you squint, they all look the same. So
if you squint hard enough, everything looks like a 98C. I stand by it.
I can't find the official name of it. It's got a strange name. It's like the T4E AR something or another. Explorer says then spill the beans. It's the First Strike drum mag. It'll never come to market. It will never come to market. It's too finicky. Nobody wants to deal with an army of paintballers going, I don't know why my stuff doesn't work. Because it's really, really finicky and the thing falls apart if you look at it the wrong way.
The TC68.
There
you go. Derek, you get it.
Thank you, Derek.
Joker gets it because that pressure release valve. Obviously, there we go. That's beautiful. Okay. It's so common. It's common sense stuff that I'm like, why didn't we do this before? Shoot.
Speedballers have had an on-off pressure relief valve for 10 years. It's only magfed that has, for some reason, not thought to do this. Like, I don't get it.
It's the same as them having that little red light sticks up when it's pressurized.
Right?
It's because I'm using we as a broad sense, and I too play magfed, and I too am a little bit slower than the average paintballer physically, mentally, literally. So yeah, that's why we're amazed. That's like Apple folks being impressed that they can do stuff the Android's been doing for 10 years. Hey, we get you in.
When
silence Apple.
I used to sell cell phones, and I remember, when was this? 2009? 2010. Well, Motorola put a fingerprint scanner in their phone. And it flopped so hard. Nobody wanted it because everyone's like, why do I need a fingerprint scanner? What's the point of that? Then Apple does it, and everyone's like, oh my God. I own an iPhone, by the way, and I used to work for an Apple affiliate.
I was going to say, you sold cell phones. You worked for Apple like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I worked for them for 6 months. I fired the entire store, and then they let me go.
The Lord and Savior. The Lord Ant's Savior. Yeah, because that's the best way Ant's gear got saved.
Does the EMF 100 have a relief valve? Does it have an on-off? I don't think it does. I have to go look now.
There's got to be an EMF monkey in here somewhere. EMF fans, do me a solid. Tell me how good your gun is.
It's very good. They're very nice. Don't get me wrong.
They are. I like the 200. If I was going to get one, I'd get the two. Well, shit, that T40 is nice.
It would be nice if the website would just let me look at the bloody gun. There we go.
I don't have one either, Joker.
It does. I think it does. I think it's got the little slide forward, slide back. So it took Planet Eclipse to do it. Actually, I think the Die Dam has one as well.
Which is like Motorola having one 10 years ago.
Yeah, the Die Dam was
prohibitively expensive.
Ahead of its time.
Yeah, and ahead of its time. I just dug out earlier my TMC. Yeah. That is she dirty.
So with this new Umarex, they're showing off all the features, which, to be frank, are not groundbreaking. It's just nice to see Umarex making a functioning, not gimmicky marker. You know what I mean? It's kind of nice for that.
Let's see. We had the Walther PPK.
Garbage.
Chintzy. Broke. We had the Roscoe, which the 68 and the 50 caliber, both of which trash. The shotgun, which is super cool. Super cool. Super neat.
Super
the pump
gimmicky,
one.
but super cool.
The pump one. The break apart, gimmicky.
I own one.
I remember. The shotgun, like the pump action one, I thought was awesome. But if you lose there's a part, if you lose, I don't know if it's what you load it with or you rack it with. If you lose that part, you're boned. Yeah, the Walther PPK. Yeah, I used it at Honey Badger, and in a fight, I dropped it and cracked the mag and jammed it into the gun. And
those mags are like $30-$40 a pop. Wow, yeah.
All right.
So it's nice to see Umarex making something somewhat functional and realistic. Now,
mag compatibility.
Yeah, so that's the one thing they did not talk about is what if the mag is based on an existing platform. What I'd love to know, it looks like a TMC mag, but we don't know. They didn't talk about it. I can see Umarex making their own mag because Umarex sells majority to law enforcement and military for training. So of course they're going to create a consumable, right?
Where's Hell Survivors? New York, Pennsylvania,
Colorado. I forget.
I mean, find a way to get me over your border without having any trouble.
Michigan.
It's not so bad.
And Pinckney. Who the hell named this town?
Pinckney.
No, it's Pinckney. Pinckney. Pinckney.
I don't know. Bonds.
Anyways, it's in Michigan.
Michigan. They have good hot dogs in Michigan.
Really?
The Michigan hot dog.
I've never heard of
spaghetti sauce, meat sauce.
No, never.
Oh my god,
that's decent though. Sounds like a less beanie chili dog.
It is a less beanie chili dog.
Okay.
But
cool.
It's more of a tomato. It's like a tomato base, like a spaghetti sauce.
That's okay.
Like
I can get behind that.
I used to get them in food trucks in Montreal all the time. It was great.
That's dope. So the features on the Umarex gun were out of the gate. It clearly is built with CO2 in mind, and my guess, the reason for that is law enforcement and potentially riot control, because you can quickly swap out a large CO2 or disposable CO2 than holding around an HPA tank.
They offer an adapter for the HPA.
Yeah, I think he said it came in the box. I think I have to go back. It is separate?
No, it's separate. Yeah, that's not. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime pal.
But yeah, there was like a little adapter you screw on, and then it screws into the little spot. You know what though? I guarantee you, somebody somewhere is going to see that and go, "I can make that for pennies on the dollar." and they're just going to make it and ship it out. Like there's probably going to, I wouldn't recommend putting high pressured air through a 3D printed part, but I guarantee you somebody's going to try. You watch, it's going to happen. Don't do it. Just saying, but it's going to happen.
Also, speaking of things that might explode if you try it out, and we don't advise it. I sent TJ has the Novas, and he's given them a little cleanup and a little safety. I hope that he records the videos like I asked of him admonishing both of us.
And if it can include instructions on how to not be an idiot going forward, that'd be fantastic. I would absolutely use that.
Be super awesome. Also, love that they're fixing the duck bill problem.
Yes. Now, I've heard that the idea was they're going to mill it so it fits as many barrels as possible, which is a little worrisome because the Phantoms use the same barrel across the board. So if they're going bigger for some reason, they're still going to end up with that issue. So it's hard to say.
It's a unique piece made for
a very specific purpose.
And I mean it's going to be a little tricky. It's a little tricky, Ricky, but he's going to fix it. I mean, they said they're going to send out your V2s.
It'd be nice to see them run just the stock, like mill it to fit the stock barrel, because the 90% of Phantom users are running just the stock barrel. So
yeah, you're right. But again,
we'll see.
You can get your V2s and you can talk to TJ. And you know what? A whack of them are probably going to keep those first runs and just try to find that that barrel just for shits.
I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. Like, I would love to see maybe like if you've got the V1, just if they made like an insert or something.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I don't know how it would work. I don't know how you would make it. I think you'd have to have the V1s shipped back because it'd have to be milled so that the insert could be inserted and permanently affixed. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, if you put the insert, it's going to fall out. So unless there's a way to affix it. So, but yeah, we'll see. So the Umarex thing, yeah, it's basically the TMC, but it shoots first strikes. CO2, runs HPA, hopper ability, Cocker threaded, which I thought was interesting. Usually magfed stuff runs proprietary or A5 thread. So nice to see Cocker thread. That opens you up to a ton of barrel options, like a ton of barrel options, a lot more than the A5 thread does. And so that'll be nice. Mags, we need to see if the mags are compatible. If it runs the TMC mag or the T15 mag, you're laughing. If it's a special Umarex mag, I don't see it working out in the paintball world, but I see them selling a lot of those suckers to law enforcement, military around the world, which frankly, let's be honest, that's what they're trying to sell to.
I mean, America.
Not that it's not just that. It's actually
Korea,
Taiwan, Thailand, Iran, Iraq.
Tibet.
No, not so much Tibet. I don't think they have a standing military.
Not what I mean. Who did we miss?
But yeah, there's a lot of countries there that run the magfed stuff for training purposes. A lot of them, and they tend to buy from these manufacturers because it's most 90% of it's made in Thailand or Taiwan. All the factories are in Taiwan. So, fun fact: a majority of the stuff that you see, I learned this the other day. A majority of the stuff that you see coming to market is not typically the company going like, "Hey, I would like to make this because this is what my consumers would like to use. Can we make this?" It's usually the factories going to the companies and going, "Hey, we designed this to fit a problem that you might have. Would you like to license it?" Which I thought was kind of interesting. Funny how that industry works. Let's see. Derek Jokers. I mean, to be fair, mags aren't all that cross-compatible now. You just have third-party adapters. Yeah. It's true, but as we saw with the EMF, go with an existing mag system and you're laughing. Right? Because then you get early adoption. We saw that with the EMF 100. People were like, "Oh, sweet, Didam mags work. Great. Let's go buy a bunch of Didam mags for cheap."
Yeah.
Slam them in. Love it. And then the EMF Planet Eclipse comes out with their mag, and it's like, "Oh, this is way better. I'm going to buy these." So it gets you early adoption right away. So we'll see how that goes. The Andrew Gagnon says, loves the show. Thanks.
I
So
know
how
that
about
guy.
that event
I
on
like
the
him.
beach in Thailand? I don't know what he's talking about. What?
Hmm.
I don't know. It does look like a TMC mag. I'm hoping it's a TMC mag. I hope it's an updated TMC mag that's backwards compatible. How dope would that be that you can buy like a better TMC mag from Umarex and swap it into your TMC? True. Yeah, doing their own might not completely sink them. I just don't know if Umarex has that big enough following to really handle that. But we'll see. We're gonna see. We're gonna wait and see how it all goes down. Cool. We're at the halfway mark. Let's do. Also, folks, the phone lines are open. So if you have any questions or opinions, feel free to call in 506-453-4979. If I said anything to offend you, please feel free to call in so I can hang up on you. And
So,
or not. We'll see.
Bradley,
Yes.
tell me a story.
So, yes, we're going to start doing a new segment. I think we might even, if we can do this, I wonder if we can work this into a weekly segment.
Terrible mags. Terrible.
Zetas are garbage. I'm so glad they're gone.
God, I hate Zeta Mags.
Yeah, they're gone. I think they're gone.
I don't know if we're going to work it into something weekly, but it'll be definitely something on these afternoons and evenings.
Definitely monthly. It'll absolutely be monthly, if not maybe weekly or bi-weekly. We'll see. We're working on it. We're working on some stuff. I've discovered that how to make my brain work properly so I can at least hopefully get some work done going forward. Experimenting. It's been fun. Anyways, Tom over here shot me a message, last week? And you were like, hey, man, on the next show, can you tell me about the Automag?
I see so many like old posts about them, and they look so basic and so simple. And I bet they are an absolute nightmare to keep running because don't tell me that. You got to lie to me because they look so pretty. Everybody who has one tells me that they're amazing. So please tell me.
All right. So this is, if I get any details wrong, I'm sorry. I'm not a historian.
We will accept you to call in and correct them, though.
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to call in and correct me, especially if you owned one or anything like that. So the Automag. So there's a little bit of discrepancy about the timing. As far as I can understand and reach is that the Automag was actually invented in 1985, but it wasn't released to the public until 1990. So the original prototype was designed in 85, and then it got released to the public in the 90s. What it was, it was one of the first generation semi-auto paintball markers. So not the first, one of the first. They all kind of showed up around the same time, within a year or two of each other. Invented by Tom Kay, who is kind of like one of the grandfathers. He's like Bud Orr, kind of like one of the grandfathers of paintball, modern day paintball. Fun fact about Tom Kay, when he got out of paintball, he is now an avid hunter and like researcher of DB Cooper.
Really?
Yeah, to the point where he had like a reality TV spot for a little while. He does a ton of research into the DB Cooper case.
Don't you know that I am fascinated by true crime and
he, from what I understand, I think Tom Kay at one point was financing having like fragments of fabric and money tested to see if it was the money from DB Cooper.
Yeah,
it's cool, super cool. So, anyways, he was with Airgun Designs, or AGD. That's where he did it. Long story short, it bounced around a couple of companies, or one company in particular was Direct Connect, and then it got AGD was like, we're going to take that back.
Oh shit, he's got like a 2-hour discussing
DB Cooper.
Oh my god!
Right? Like some guys retire and go golfing. Some guys retire and like take up woodworking. This man retired and was like, I'm gonna find a guy who stole $100,000 and jumped out of a plane.
Oh my god! I'm
so cool, right?
I'm so. Oh yeah, this is all getting bookmarked. Sorry, I just went on another tangent, but Dude, I'm always been blown away by, like, the story of DB Cooper, and if there's a paintballer that's telling this story, I can't wait to
Right?
find it.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
okay,
Okay.
keep going.
So the reason why it was like invented in 85 but not released till the 90s is because they were working on a lot of features that were new to the paintball world. One was that they kept working with the blowback system, and they just could not, which is what you'd find in a traditional paintball gun, and they just could not get it to work the way they wanted. So they said, screw it. And they built the blow forward system from the ground up, which is when you air it up, the bolt gets aired up. And when you pull the trigger, it releases the bolt. And then a spring forces it back. So it blows the bolt forward and the spring comes back. The nice thing about that was, and it was interesting, was that as soon as you aired it up, it was ready to go. You didn't have to, there was no cocking handle. There was no part of it was open to debris or dirt. Air it up, boom, and it would fire right away.
Okay.
Right? So that was kind of innovative. They were also one of the first markers to have a tool-free disassembly, so you could field strip it, which was really cool. The quick release twist lock barrel. So back in the day, the barrels had like a million threads on them because that was just the way they did it. This was like a click, click, and it came out. So it was quick release.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Then they had this thing that they called the power feed. Sounds super awesome, right? Like, it's like, you're just like, man, that must be awesome. They put the hopper neck on a 45-degree angle. The whole point of that was because if the hopper feed was straight up, like majority of them were, or if it was fed by a tube that fell straight down, sometimes you'd pull the trigger and a ball would actually get blown up into the hopper because the air would kind of get, instead of pushing the ball out, it would shoot the ball under and up.
Because it's a closed bolt. Yeah, it would.
So then by putting it on a 45-degree angle, the ball didn't really get a chance to go up into the hopper. It kind of got stuck at a 45, fell back down, and got shot out.
Okay.
So that was cool. So
that's a really good idea.
The original prototype was called the Panther, because of course it was. It was the 80s. In the 90s, they released it as the Automag. Also, it was one of the first semi-auto paintball guns to win a tournament. It won the international Masters in 1990. Became incredibly popular, very fast. Like, boom, everyone wanted it. Then from there, it went through multiple editions. So it had a ton of stuff added to it. So you got like, they went to the next iteration was called the Mini Mag. And then they had the side arm, or the SYDARM, the side arm.
I've heard of the Mini Mag.
So the Mini Mag was the one that a lot of paintballers used. The sidearm was really more advertised and sold to law enforcement. It was a riot control thing. Designed for police training is what they said. Also, it was one of the first paintball guns to have a built-in regulator. So it regulated its own pressure.
Cool.
Because before, everyone was using pumps. So you didn't need a regulator. The pump was literally your regulator. Same amount of air every time, or close to it, right?
Yeah.
This being semi-auto needed to be regulated. So they kept adding more things. They kept renewing them, making them better, right? So they did the reactive trigger series, which was basically a new regulator preventing shoot down. So shoot down was when you shot too fast, and not enough air was getting in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go boom, 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 like you'd see your balls drop. So this was the regulator was faster, so you could do 25 per second. Nobody could shoot that fast, but the regulator could handle 25. So in their mind was, if the reg can handle 25, and the average person's only going to shoot 12 to 13, we're golden, right? Because this was all mechanical.
You're not going to be able to outshoot at that point. Yeah.
It was then banned in tournaments. Because you could bounce the trigger. And what bouncing the trigger was you could, if you feathered the trigger and you just flicked it, kind of thing, right? The trigger would fire, and then when the trigger would go back, it would fire, and then it would go forward, and the force of the trigger going forward would snap it back again, and it would fire automatically.
Oh, so it was like, I remember stories of those when I was
poor man's ramping.
Yeah, I remember like when I first started hearing about markers that could do stuff like that, that there was a marker that would do that. Okay, so that's the Automag.
Then they released also at some point, I forget where in this history of updates, they actually issued some of these for free. Like, hey, thanks for buying this Automag. We created something better. Let us know. We'll hook you up. So they had the level 10 bolt, which was basically just a bolt update that was a little faster, a little lighter, and reduced chopping. That was the main thing about that one. The X valve, again, a new valve, lightweight. They milled it out of aluminum. So it was, because most back in that day, everything was made of steel, right? You never had to worry about pressure. If you make everything out of steel, you're not going to break anything. Then introduced the eMag. So the eMag was the electronic version of the Automag. But what was cool was that the way the trigger worked was it was powered by two magnets. Like it had two powered magnets in it. So when you pulled the trigger, when the magnets got close enough to each other, it would create a circuit, and then it would fire. That's how we have magnetic triggers now. That's how they work.
Yeah.
When the two magnets got close enough, creates a magnetic field, fires the button. Now, what happens if your battery dies? You're fine because it's still a mechanical trigger at the heart. So as long as you pull it just a little harder, it would still fire, even if your battery died mid-tournament. So it had a mechanical fail-safe. So you'd be shooting, boom, 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 your battery dies, and you're like, oh, boom, boom, boom. You just keep going. You just pull the trigger a little harder. So super great. And then they also created the warp feed, which I showed you at one place. You showed me the warp feed. Hopper on the side. The whole point of that was feed lots of balls really fast without impeding the vision of the player. There's the Z frame. Yes, I didn't include that in the list, but the Z frame, which is the one where the trigger, like the trigger's like, yeah. So you're basically like really.
Who was running one of those? I think Savageau was running one at.
Savageau.
Savageau had one because I can't even make my arm go back.
It made you tighten up, right? Is what it was. It made you tighten right up.
Oh, it was so it was super cool looking.
They introduced the ultra lightweight trigger, or the ultralight trigger, or the ULT. What was cool about that is it took the pull from 4-pound trigger pull to 16-ounce trigger pull. So basically nothing. So yeah, that was the Automag. It was it basically paved the way for semi-auto in tournaments. It dominated the 90s. If you were playing a tournament in the 90s, you were probably running an Automag of some kind.
I'm looking at one right now. I'm doing some Googling. I'm not. I wouldn't even know where to begin with something like that. The thing about
the Automag nowadays is the Automag is no longer really played in tournaments because that's like trying to race. You're trying to take I don't know. I'm older car racing against a newer car. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Old tech, but super robust and super reliable. So a lot of the woods ballers are running them, like all the old woods ballers are bringing them out, because you could basically cut down a tree with the damn thing and it wouldn't fall apart. Oh, look at that. We got a spammer. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the space. Good to know.
Well-organized unicorn.
It's over on Twitter.
You can take a long, hard suck of my big toe. The one with the funky nail. That one.
They had some interesting. So the Automag had some interesting features with it as well. Some things that you can get. Now, this isn't something necessarily that they invented, but you often saw them with the Automags. Again, the ultralight trigger, but they also had ultralight bodies where they started making the bodies out of aluminum. So it made the marker a lot lighter. When you go from steel to aluminum, it's like night and day. They had the 6-pack plus rapid CO2 changing system. So imagine if you're holding the marker and you got a little stock kind of thing coming off the back of it, right? Little thin little stock. But in this stock is a tray that holds six 12-gram CO2s. So you're shooting, right? Boom, 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 boom. Then you run out of CO2. So you pull a lever at the bottom. Little lever comes down, right? It ejects the empty CO2, loads a new one, and pierces it. And you just keep shooting. That's
cool.
Right? Yeah, it's super dope. It's meant for pump markers. And then, again, the blow forward remains the foundation for modern paintball markers. So pretty much they invented the blow forward system. That's
so
the Automag.
I'm flipping, I'm looking, I'm doing a bit of reading, I'm listening, and all I see when I look at like these Automags, like again, Google, I just on eBay and I'm looking at some of them, $300-400, just looking because I want to get an idea of, I'm always curious about what things cost, and they look like archaic, and I love the fact that they're just so ancient looking, but they remind me a lot of like Nova. They all it looks not exactly, but you know what I mean by that very minimalistic, simple body style. Like
old school, very old school.
There's a couple. Listen, there's a couple there for like $250, and I'm like, oh, that's mighty tempting just to have on my shelf because it's beautiful. But I would not be able to maintain or give it the proper life it deserves. So no. Roundabout way saying I'll stick with if I can screw up a Nova. You think I want to mess with something like that? Mm-mm.
So while you're Googling and whatnot, I want you to go take a look up the AGD TAC 1 TAC-0 is there? Oh my God, ONE
words
TAC 1. Okay.
ADG TAC 1.
Yeah, the AGD TAC 1. It's pretty standard. It's it's kind of out there, but it's a basic semi-auto.
Oh yeah, I've seen body styles like this.
Great. Now go look up the TAC 1 longbow or the AGD longbow. Anybody who was on Spec Ops Paintball back in the day knows exactly what I'm talking about. And this thing,
I
wanted this so bad.
Yes. Actually, when you look up the ADG or AGD, that it comes up almost right away.
Yeah. So the
even
longbow,
without typing in longbow, like that is that my back and shoulders hurt just looking at that.
So it was actually extremely lightweight, weighed almost nothing.
Really?
For its size.
That thing looks like it weighs a metric ton.
It's mostly barrel.
Yeah. Well,
right.
The big mock silencer on the end that's like a foot long isn't helping.
Well, that's extra. That didn't come with it. Spec Ops Paintball was a big proponent of this thing, so they designed it. The tube feed on the top is a full 20 round tube feed. It was designed so that it ran like the hose, like you put a little adapter on it and it ran the hose line, went the remote line on your back.
I am looking with that line, but then it's got the warp feed on the front.
That's the Q loader.
Or the Q loader.
It looks like a pod.
Either way. Yeah.
That's the Q loader.
That is I've
funky, right?
And then they make black cell they make them for the Ion. You get a longbow kit for the Ion. Oh my God, this is hideous. I love it.
Right, on the Ion. Hey guys,
dude, this is like looking at a Pontiac Aztec. That's like my like kids these days looking at those going, oh my God, it's so ugly. How'd it get made? Shit.
So you can actually still go to AGD's website and buy you can still buy the Automag and the TAC 1.
No way.
Yep.
No way. XM Automag. Yep. Well,
it says the builds are still on hold, so maybe they're slowed down a little bit, but you can still buy parts. You can still
update 8/3/2021. Full and partial XM gun builds are still delayed due to part availability.
Yep.
Well.
So there's lots of stuff you can buy on the website, so you can still build them. If you find one online, it's busted, you can go buy a new part. So yeah, that's the AGD, or not the AGD. That's the Automag from AGD. It's kind of like it's great granddaddy of semi-auto paintball.
There's some beautiful looking markers. Like those things are really, really cool.
That was the 90s and the early 2000s was the days of like no two markers were the same, because you bought the body and then it was like you went to CP parts or CP paintball, which is custom paintball parts, and you decked it out with whatever you wanted. right? Like they were building parts for everything, and you made it your own. You would cut things down, you would change out the valve, the bolt, change out the trigger, the colors. Everything was bright, everything was flashy, everything was huge, it was ugly, it was gaudy, it was fantastic, right? Like it's like going to a car show, and it's like because I've anytime I've gone to a car show, you go and you see these like, it's like, oh wow, the guy who owns the new 2025 Corvette parked it in, he's showing it off. Good for you. You went up and dropped $120,000 on a Corvette, right? But then you see the like totally custom built hot rod that you're like, yes, the Corvette is newer, faster, but this is sexy in a different way. Like it's like, yes, it's not that fast, and it's not. I don't think I would want to do a 15-hour road trip. Actually, I don't think I want to do a 15-hour road trip in a Corvette either. But anyways,
it doesn't look like a supercar. It's a Cavalier.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's what that Automag is. That's not a Cadillac. It's a Cavalier.
Yes, exactly. Right.
It's gonna get you there. It's designed for functionality, not form.
And then but then the parts you could add on and the way you could make it your own was like
so then that comes down to, do you want if you wanted to customize something at that time, was like get an Automag, and then the Ion came out and you just decided to make those instead?
So the Ion was like the Honda Civic of the paintball world. It came out, it was relatively cheap, it worked decently, like it was it was a good marker, right? But the thing about the Ion was that the way it was built was very easy to bolt parts on and take parts off, right? There wasn't a lot to finagle with.
No.
So you could easily buy extra parts for it. You could buy whatever you wanted for the Ion. There was a lot of parts for the Ion. The 98 Sunfire.
That's what I was thinking when I said Cavalier.
Pontiac,
I was really thinking of the Pontiac Sunfire.
Pontiac Sunfire.
It's absolutely. A 98 Sunfire. If you squint hard enough, everything looks like a 98.
Yes.
Everything looks like a Sun. Seeing Sunfires around town now, I almost crap myself, because I'm just like, they were ubiquitous, man. They were like those.
The Sunfire is what the mechanic drove. You know what I mean? Like if you were a car guy, the Sunfire was like, if you knew a car guy, the daily driver was a Sunfire. You know what I mean? Like he's got a race car in the garage that's in 17 million pieces, and he's taking the busted old 98 Sunfire to work every day.
99
or 99.
I remember the 99 Sunfire. I had friends with
you know what I mean? Like that was
bulletproof, dude. They were great little cars. No, it's. I've seen a whole bunch of them. I think we need to get a Honda Civic of paintball, the Ion. There's something that can be done there.
I'm gonna go find the video. Every time somebody mentions the Ion, immediately I think of the sexy Ion song.
Oh God.
Mike Phillips was the one who did it. I remember now. So Mike Phillips was Tech PB. Going down a rabbit hole here, but he had a YouTube channel and a website. And everything.
So it's been a rabbit hole.
He Tech PB was pretty wild. He did a ton of like reviews back in the day. Like he was one of the earlier guys on YouTube. And then I think he got into some hot water because he was like, I think it was buying or trading markers or something like that, and people started to get like, they were like, okay, I'm gonna trade my marker with Tech PB, and I'm gonna ship this marker off.
Hey, Gooey man.
And then it never came back. Stuff like that. Like it was a whole thing. Guy basically got ran out.
They don't really soup Civics up around here anymore. I'm trying to think what would be the modern equivalent of what the EMAC would be. I suppose, yeah, you could call it the modern Civic, but
no, because you don't soup up Civics anymore, because all the Civics come out of the factory looking souped up.
Yeah,
right. Like they've cut out the middleman. Honda was like, we're just going to do it for you.
The Mazda 3.
Yes, the Mazda 3. Marker
That's-
bit. That's what it was. Thank you, Magooey. Thank you.
The
Yes, it was
Umarex
marker
is the
bit.
Mazda 3, and I
And-
don't. It was like where you could bid on markers, or you get bits.
Yeah, so it was markers, and you bid on them, and it was super shady, and people were like spending a ton of money, and then the markers never showed up. He basically got ran out of paintball. Like, it was bad, and then he came back. He tried to do.
He tried to do it again.
No.
He thought
just
paintballers
tried-
were so dumb we'd fall for it twice.
I'm surprised they didn't.
Oh,
He
that's
he
not
then
nice.
came back and did like another video out of
Mhm.
nowhere. Yeah, he came back like a year ago, did a video 2 years ago, did a video 3 years ago. He did a video. It was strange. It was a 19-second video 2 years ago for the McLaren Shermanator or Tech PV mic. I don't know. And then 1 year ago, it was like got an HK Army Sonic loader and HK Skull Mask, did a review. Then he did the review on the Carbon Zero paintball Google. Carbon Zero paintball goggle review. And that was it, like a year ago. And all the comments were just like, why are you here? Nobody wants you. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was penny bids. That's what it was. That was shady. It was a penny. You ever seen a penny bid site?
No.
So a penny bid site is like, it's like, oh, we sold this marker for 14 cents. It's like, okay, cool, but to buy the pennies is you gotta buy them with like real money. Like, it wasn't real. It was very lottery like, almost like something shady, like a shitty casino would do. Like,
Yeah.
it just like, it's a very confusing system.
Yeah. You weren't actually betting a penny. You were betting a quarter, or you were betting $1. But
Yeah, it was
they
something
say-
like that. Yeah, it was. You see the commercials
Penny
like
horses.
late night TV where it was like, I got this MacBook Pro for $4.10, and it was like, no, you spent $1,200 like betting on this. Let's see. Yeah, people talking about like, yeah, he's back, and everyone's like, yeah, I used to watch you back in the day. Yeah. And then there's a ton of comments were just like, why are you here? Go away.
Burning Hill.
Yeah. I feel like he definitely went for some sympathy points because he put Borg Tech's helmet on his desk, which kind of pissed me off. Borg Tech was a guy based out of Croatia who, sorry, this really is all just rabbit holes. Borg Tech was a fantastic YouTube channel ages ago. He created a lot of DIY stuff because being in Croatia, it cost an absolute fortune for him to import anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right, where we'd be like, oh, I'm going to go buy a new set of goggles for $200. It would end up being like $500 for him because of import taxes and everything like that. It was wild. So he DIY'd a ton of stuff. Like he DIY'd like weird pod modifications. He did like, at one point he did like a really, really cool bipod for his A5. He DIY'd this helmet. What he was known for was he had a World War II helmet that he DIY'd, that he put bullets down the middle like a mohawk.
Oh, cool.
And his symbol was the Quake symbol.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
People like crowdfunded in the early days before there was crowdfunding sites, like before you had GoFundMe and all this stuff. They pulled together money to fly him from Croatia to the US to play a game. Like, he was huge. He was awesome. And then unfortunately he ended up taking his life many years ago.
Oh, it's a bummer.
Yeah, I guess people who were close to him were kind of like, what you saw on YouTube was not him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You know, but he was really missed. Like, that was a hard day. I remember when that happened. And
thanks for bringing down the show at the end. Like,
well, no,
really.
go check out his YouTube channel. It's still up. His YouTube channel is still up.
Oh, killer. We'll throw a link
Paintball.
in the throw that up there. And
yeah, he did some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he built his own Q loader system. Like, he modified his A5 to use a whole pod.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? Like, he did some really cool stuff. He
sick.
was awesome. He was super cool, dude. You know, and like he did like, we're talking like he was doing Quake Cam videos. He was doing POV shots 15 years ago. Yeah.
Jeez.
His oldest video, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go find his oldest video. His oldest video on YouTube. Oh, wow. I might have to go back really far here.
My cat is so happy now.
17 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Was his first YouTube video that he posted. He did a Quake Cam paintball at the house. Quake Cam paintball at House of Pain 17 years ago. Point of view shot from his A5. How wild is that? How wild is that?
That's mental. That's what that is.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
So
yes, I know, Frank. It's almost time. We're almost out of time. My cat is. That makes me sad. I was really enjoying that. I love when you go on tangents and rabbit holes. But pretty soon we're going to be going on the road again, and I'm going to get some fresh stories out of you.
I forgot how quickly things are connected. Like you were like, tell me about the Automag. I was like, all right, I'll talk about the Automag. And then from the Automag, I ended up going to the TAC 1. From the TAC 1, going to Spec Ops. Spec Ops somehow got on to Tech PB. And then Tech PB, I went on to. Anyways, the next one we're going to go down. The next rabbit hole I want to go down is Spec Ops Paintball. We're going to talk Spec Ops Paintball next time. I'm going to teach you about Spec Ops. That shit was awesome. You would have loved Spec Ops, man. You would have loved it.
I'm a pretty cheesy kind of person.
Oh, it's so cheesy. It was so cheesy.
I would have loved it.
They had a YouTube channel, and they actually put together and they wrote one song. It was a punk paintball song.
Oh, you sent me that.
Specifically Woods Ball.
You sent me that.
Yes.
We're gonna have to talk about that next time because it's
another
hilarious.
time we'll go down the Ops Gear rabbit hole. That was another one. That was like the opposite of Spec Ops. So that's it, folks. We're out of here. It's been an absolute blast. Again, I'm going to ask every week. Sorry, but I got to ask. If you enjoy the content we create and you want to maybe hear the podcast maybe a little earlier than everyone else, or if you just want to support the show, there is a Patreon link in the show description, in the show notes. Feel free to support us. That is the nicest
way to like beg like animals that we are.
Absolutely.
Beg for money, but really the show does cost money to run. And we appreciate anything you can do. But if you can't, that's all good because we're still going to come back and torch you anyways.
I'm not going
away.
You can still watch the show live when we stream. And
on that
also, if you want to join the Discord, there's a Discord join link in the show description. You can jump into the Discord, come hang out with us. Probably going to be doing some gaming tomorrow night. Come hang out with us. You're trying to high five me over there? What's going on? I don't know where my camera
is. Mime. I had to explain to my kid what miming was. It's the other way.
There we go. Gotcha. Yeah. And then, Quench, latest sponsor, Quench Hydration. So go over to quenchhydration.ca or quenchhydration.com. Use the code Maritime Paintball Podcast. Save yourself 15%. Why not? That's basically the taxes in Canada.
Be a mensch. Buy some Quench.
Right. And then, and that helps us out. So that's it, folks. It's been a blast. We're out of here until next week. Cheers.
Doodles.